What if instead of shutting down, that we find ways to replenish and gather with our safe people so that we can withstand the uncertainty and the heartbreak because it's not going to stop? What would the world look like if people felt like they mattered? Welcome to the Lead with Love podcast, exploring what it means to lead with love in business and life. I'm your host, Jada Selner, and in this show, I'll share meaningful conversations to help you, the creative, the entrepreneur, the world changer, reach more people, go after your dreams, and serve your community with love. I appreciate you joining me. Now, let's get cozy and start today's episode. Hello, it's Jada, and I'm so excited to reconnect on the Lead with Love podcast. And today, this episode is just you and me, no guest, no interview, just a heart-to-heart life and business update. So I'm excited to just get current with myself, with you as we reorient. I have some fun conversations and interviews that are coming up on the Lead with Love podcast. And this has been a year for me of big milestones, big transitions, and honestly, just a lot of tender moments of holding grief and joy at the same time. So I want to share a peek behind the scenes of my life, what I'm noticing in the world, and some practices that are helping me sustain through it all. And my hope is that this sparks reflection for you too. So let's get started. So right now I'm in full college prep mode with Zoe. And it's such an interesting time of year, right? Like summer is a really great time, especially in California, just to kind of soak up the sun and really lean into the pleasures and playfulness, and also preparing for this season of empty nesting. So I am doing all the things. It's like all the appointments, load them up before I send my future college student off. So it's the doctor appointments, the dentist appointments, the hair appointments, shopping for dorm supplies online, in stores, filling out just different forms, financial aid. It just feels like, kind of that to-do list that feels like a bottomless mimosa, it's just never ending. And for me, empty nesting is kind of the last milestone and big transition of this year, but I've been in back-to-back milestones since May of this year, and it's just been one after the other. So in May, Zoe took all the AP exams, had a beautiful rites of passage ceremony with this program led by Quetzal and Emily called Love Your Nature. I will link to this in the show notes for those who may have young teens. It's community, it's ritual, it's nature, and it was just such a saving grace to support Zoe during the high school years. And they even start at, I think, middle school as well. So a very, very just sweet, amazing program and group and community that meets once a month during the school year. And then for those who are graduating or transitioning, do a really beautiful, powerful rites of passage ceremony where they like sleep outside in the dark under the stars with like a sleeping bag, no tent. And I'm just so impressed by my kid. And then we had high school graduation and graduation party. So May was just full of that kind of end of year school energy with all of the completion, And so many of my clients also tend to be moms and caregivers. And so we always call Maycember. There's this really funny video parody by the Holderness. I always forget how to pronounce their last name. I'll post a link in the show notes. So if you head over to jadaselner.com, head to the podcast, You'll see the link for that in there. Then Zoe turned 18 in June. And so celebrating that of I have been a mama for 18 years and now I have an adult, an emerging adult, which there's still, I know, will still be in mom mode and available and on call. But really, for the last few years, I've felt this call to be really rooted locally, to have that physical presence for Zoe, even if Zoe didn't need me all the time. It's one of the reasons George and I have our creative studio. It's just one freeway exit away from where we live in Lafayette, California. And it has just allowed us to, there's this quote of bloom where you are planted. And it really feels like that season of anchoring in, deepening roots. I talk about that's really the last chapter of She Builds is about deepening our roots. And so it's just been a beautiful practice around that. Then July, George and I celebrated 20 years of marriage in Puerto Vallarta. I'll talk more about that. And August, George turned 50. And so I've just been celebrating and loving up on my people for the last few months and then getting ready to do the college dorm move-in drop-off. So I'm really excited for college. I think I'm looking at it as like a 4-year summer camp, and I just think it's going to be just a really sweet initiation for Zoe. So I am just in the weeds of it all, right? I'm celebrating and honoring so much and just having this back-to-back celebrations and milestones. It's still a lot, but I feel like I have been really showing up for my family. I've also gotten sick twice. I'm like upper leveling for sure because I'm holding the tenderness of life and also everything that's going on in the world, but also being present for the people that I love the most, which is really the why. Like I have built my business to support my lifestyle, to fit in with the way that I want to live and be in the world. And so we are all in these seasons right now, right? Where life asks us to hold, grief and also so much joy and like to sit in the transition. And I'm 42 this year. So also May was my birthday and Mother's Day. I didn't even mention that. Like I'm important too. I matter too. And I ended up doing, what did we do? Oh my goodness, I'm totally forgetting now. I know for Mother's Day, we went to Carmel and there's this amazing place called Refuge where it's just a bunch of outdoor hot tubs, which you'll hear me talk about hot tubs several times in this episode. So just so you know, hot tubs are my love language, but it's like the hot tubs with the rocks and the waterfalls, and you're just outdoors in nature and you just soak, and there's different temperatures, and it's screen free. So no one can have phones. So everyone's just reading their books, just sitting in silence and soaking. It is the best thing. So what I do feel that I've been doing really well with the crescendo of output and celebration and transition is really nurturing myself in the process and being able to soothe, what are my practices that bring me back to my body and my breath. And one of the things that I do now, I do this monthly sacred business circle at my studio where we meet for 2 hours. Women entrepreneurs locally come. It's a paid experience. We drop into our bodies, our breath. We connect, we network, we, share what we're up to in the world, what our asks and our needs are. We do small group breakouts. It's so beautiful and so sacred. I am no longer hiding that there is a spiritual presence and attunement to a bigger calling and why and how we do business and life. But one of the practices that I've been doing before my business circles on Fridays is I do physical prep on Thursday. So I'm setting the space and the circle and the backjack floor chairs and the candles and the altar and the music. And I get a massage on Thursday, the day before, so that I get into my body first. and allow myself to ground before I start to hold space for others. And so that's been a very, very beautiful practice for me. And really thinking about what are those practices of nourishment for you, especially with everything that's going on in the world, right? The news feels and is so devastating. People are displaced, and headlines are pinging our nervous systems and just breaking our hearts in a million pieces. And I notice that in these moments when so much noise is happening in the world, that my instinct, and probably yours too, is to want to shut down, get quiet, isolate. And so we have to ask ourselves, what if instead of shutting down, that we find ways to replenish and gather with our safe people so that we can withstand the uncertainty and the heartbreak, because it's not going to stop. Like, this is part of life, the fragility of it all, the just, we don't know, how many days are promised, what shifts and changes could just happen, that we have to steady ourselves in that self-care, right? I talk about this in She Builds, that self-care is a business strategy. So this is where I'm learning that I can hold both grief and joy, right? That I can see what's going on in the world and take the small actions that I can take and contribute my voice, my money, my resources, and also still be there to celebrate like the beauty of life, of transition, of school ending and a new school starting, and milestone birthdays, and just so much, right? So when I let myself feel it all, I actually have more stamina to sustain myself and my business and the people I love. Another practice of nourishment for me is I've been doing an annual creativity co-working retreat. So, and I almost call it, and it's starting to feel like that now, is like be my neighbor retreat. So actually not trying to go to some place super new that you've never been to before, but inviting friends to your own neighborhood or visiting your friends where they live. That was one of my big ahas a few years ago. I've been in a lot of masterminds, paid as well as peer. And I think the mix of it all is really helpful for someone like me that needs to verbally process. But I noticed, I was like, oh, there's certain people who no longer live really close to me or never did. Like my friend, Nikki Elledge Brown, lives in Texas. My other close friend, Michelle Young, lives in Portland, Oregon. And I have another friend, Tamika Lewis, who's in Los Angeles, and noticing that these friends are, they're not my neighbors, but we can do these Be My Neighbor retreats where we get to visit each other and kind of live and work alongside each other and really experience that. So I actually did that last November. I did a Be My Neighbor retreat where Nikki came and visited me. We stayed at the local hotel where most of my clients stay at for when they do collective retreats with me, and the She Builds business retreats at my studio. You literally can walk from this hotel to the studio space, which is so nice. So Nikki and I actually stayed in the hotel together. And then we went to my local co-working space at Industrious. We ate at all my favorite like lunch, dinner spots. And we also just co-worked and got a lot done. We masterminded. I brought her to my gem Lifetime to kind of see where I do my own soothe cycle of hot tub. Told you, love language. Sauna, steam room, cold plunge, rooftop pool, all the things. So that was really fun. And then in February of this year, I visited Michelle in Portland in her new house and got to see her space and the circles that she's leading. She's actually getting ready to launch her sanctuary, which I'm so excited. And she's building locally in her own backyard. So we just got to brainstorm and mastermind in her hot tub in her backyard, and then go to her favorite cafes and coffee shops to co-work. And we also still did like calls and things. So it was just so much fun. And then this most current one was actually this month in August. Alexandra Franzen invited us to the North Shore of the Big Island. We did it last year as well. Jen Kem and I, and then Nikki joined us this year. And Nikki and I were there for 7 nights. It was so amazing. And we got to bust out our laptops, see double rainbows, soak in the hot tub. So just like, this is my practice of nourishment is hot tubs all day, every day. And it was so much fun because when you're doing this Be My Neighbor retreat, where it's like, I'm coming to Alex's backyard, or Nikki's coming to my backyard, or I'm going to Michelle's backyard, right? That there's something very just like grounding and familiar and comfortable. And so then we can just get to work and generate new ideas, but someone is kind of uprooting themselves from their day-to-day lives and responsibilities. And that's also like what I do in my She Builds business retreats. It's truly what I love to do. George and I were just talking about this the other day of like, well, if we had $5 million, in the bank account and we didn't have to work, like what would we do for work? And for me, leading retreats where women get to step away from their day-to-day responsibilities and pause to celebrate what is going good personally and professionally in community, and then have the space to dream and ideate and then come up with a plan of like, what do I want to prioritize based on the capacity and commitments of this year? My favorite thing. And then to do it with other inspiring folks where we get to co-regulate, we get to dance, move our bodies, eat nourishing meals, have beautiful conversations, mastermind heart seats, all the things. Like it is my absolute favorite thing to do on my own with my friends, and then to create that experience for my clients. So I would do that. And the addition that I would add, which I was waiting for Zoe to, ship to college, is that I'll be expanding those retreats so that they're also a mix of destination retreats too. And something George and I have been talking about is actually doing a couples retreat where it's like vision and planning as well as embodiment and attunement to each other, of being able to create that vision and plan for your lives and your own companies and creative work and career path together. Because George and I have been doing this for many, many years. We do it every year together. And so creating that structure and rhythm for other couples to do that and for us to facilitate is something we're really excited to explore next year. So if you're interested, please reach out and let me know. George has also been leading men's circles in our creative studio. He has just finished his 4th season cycle. He does 10 weeks with a group of 10 to 12 men in person, local. They're going deep. They're breathing deep. They're being vulnerable. They're being playful. And I'm just so proud of my husband and what he's been able to learn and deepen in his own learning around inner work. And it's been such a shift in our own marriage where I'm so excited for the empty nest years after 20 years of marriage and 22 years of being together. So I'm so excited for the work that he's doing, but also even more excited for like, what collaborations can we come up with in this next season of our own evolution of creative expression and service in the world. So super, super excited about that. And I just want to encourage you, if you have a bestie, a friend, someone maybe you talk to all the time on the phone or in private messaging, audio messages, Voxer, Signal, and you haven't seen them in a while or gone deep in a while, then I highly recommend booking a trip where it's a Be My Neighbor retreat. So only one person has to uproot, and just try it on, see how it feels, and co-work and get stuff done together and walk around town and share meals and all of that. Because I think that's where productivity, connection, and deep rest all come together. And it's just why I do what I do. Like when I do She Builds Collective, we gather 2 to 3 times a year for our retreats. And then I do a few standalone She Builds business retreats. for 2 days with people who are just coming into my world, or maybe that's, the like small sip that they can take in this season. But the work is so deep and you feel so restored and refreshed from it. So highly, highly recommend to do that. And one of the questions that I actually wanted to bring forward, this something that I do inside my sacred business circle, which if you are local in the San Francisco Bay Area, you definitely, definitely want to come and check it out. I have to like pat myself on the back. I just feel like that's one of my magic sauces to create really grounded spaces where you can just breathe again and also connect with high vibe, inspiring, creative, social justice oriented, up to big, beautiful things in the world type of women. Doing these monthly gatherings was a test and experiment that I started in April of this year, and I've been doing it monthly since, and I love it. And I want to keep doing it. And so something that we do in the circle is that I will have, after I lead a guided meditation to really drop into your own body and breath and setting your intention, is to have some journal prompts and questions that you can personally, privately write and reflect on. And then we also do small group breakouts so people can go a little bit deeper. And so I just wanted to share some of these recent questions from one of my sacred business circles. And the questions and the themes change each month. So I just want to share some of these questions for you to think about and to start to, even if you're just listening right now, and just see what space opens up, what ideas or answers come through, or if you have a little bit more time to like write the questions down and journal about them and bring it into your morning ritual of slowing down. And so here are the few questions that I've asked recently. What is feeling heavy, cluttered, or overly complicated in your business right now? What is feeling heavy, cluttered, or overly complicated in your business right now? The next question, what could you simplify or release to create more ease or joy? Or both, right? We want ease and we want joy. What could you simplify or release to create more ease or joy? Sometimes we're like doing the most, right? We like fill our plates with all the things. And so if there's something that you could let go of that you've kind of autopiloted and haven't thought about, like, oh yeah, I could just stop doing this. I actually remember when Zoe was in preschool, I was on the board and I was like helping with fundraisers. We did this. This was when we were in Kauai. It was like a Ohana disco dance party. But I found myself like spending so much time with like the school. And what I really wanted was just spend more time with Zoe. And so I actually exited the parent board, whatever it was, and decided to shift and like, oh, actually, I would love to volunteer in Zoe's classroom, and like spend more time with Zoe. Or if I could spend a little bit more time on my work, that then when Zoe gets home, I'd have more time, So just like, is there something in your schedule, on your to-do list that you could just release and let go of and actually create more ease for you? Another question is, what's one thing you're ready to streamline, right? So thinking about, is there something that, you do over and over again and a system could be created or some efficiency? For example, with sacred business circles, for those of you who don't know, I am a Taurus sun, a Pisces rising, and a Virgo moon. So my Taurus is like that earthy, sensory. That's why it's like candles and special, like just activating the senses, creating the environment is one of my high values. And then that Pisces is the big picture dreamer, just floating above the clouds. But that Virgo in me is the checklist and the to-do list and the systems and streamlining. And so with Sacred Business Circle, it's been so fun because I haven't done something new in a while in my business. This is something new. It was also very scary. And I have created a Google Doc with an SOP. It's like an events prep checklist. And I have this little journal. I take notes of like, okay, what could I do better next time? Or like, oh, I want to shift this, or let's create a postcard with the prompts so people don't have to look at a big poster paper or a screen and they just have the card right in front of them. There's all these little refinements. And now I feel like I've been doing it for over 5 months now, that it's like there's not many more refinements. Now I can just like deepen. So I'm just really excited about that. So is there anything in your business or in your life that is ready to be streamlined, and like you could even document it and create some efficiency around that? So just thinking about that. And then the last question, what spaciousness or possibility, if you were to streamline or if you were to simplify and release, might that open up for you? What spaciousness or possibility might that open up for you? So we start to open, like if I were to make some shifts, if I were to do something different, if I were to get out of like the day to day, this is just how we do it, business as usual, what's possible if I make that shift? And so then that can inspire you to actually let go and release some of those things. So those are some questions to sit with. And yeah, I just think that it's really powerful for us to, one, gather in community, and two, gather with ourselves, like be in conversation with ourselves. And oftentimes we just don't have the quiet space to do it. So when people come to my retreats, when they come to Sacred Business Circle, when you're a part of the collective, I am constantly slowing us down, connecting to our breath, and creating that small sip of quiet so that we can hear our own voices. And the beautiful thing is these circles have been selling out. So if it's something that you want to come to, definitely get on the list. Just go to my website, jadaselner.com, and you'll see where to join. Another thing that I want to celebrate and just is, I talked about this summer, we celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. So super big milestone. And I'm going to be super honest with you. I was like, we can like celebrate on the other side of Zoe off to college. Like maybe we'll do something for winter break and go on a trip. So I was really resistant because so many milestone things were happening and my brain was just like overloaded with the to-do list and the checklist and the calendaring and la-di-da-di-da. And so George just took it upon himself to like, he talks about archetypes in his men's work, and the archetype that he really embraced was like king energy and warrior energy, which is like seeing the big picture and then like moving forward with that. And I feel like he brought the king and the warrior to planning our wedding anniversary trip to Puerto Vallarta. He picked the location, he picked the dates, he booked and decided on the hotel, the flights, getting Zoe situated with our dog Beasley. We had our like local neighborhood of friends just like on call if Zoe needed anything, but just getting to stay solo at our place and walking Beasley every day. It was amazing. And one of the greatest gifts, I don't know if you've are in long-term partnership or in marriage or anything like that, at least for me as a woman who has the invisible workload and the emotions and the tracking of all people, one of the greatest gifts for me is like handle it, plan it, take care of it so I can just show up and be in my feminine. And I feel like George just gets like 10 gold stars because that's what he did. And I just got to show up. And I'm like, I can do that. Like if you handle it all and make all the decisions and all I have to do is just rest and play. He booked this amazing presidential suite it was like private rooftop hot tub with sunset views and just amazing view of the old town. It was just so good. It was a beautiful way for us to reconnect and deepen. And we even did ceremonies on the rooftop with our like Palo Santos and setting intentions just to be playful and present and prioritize our pleasure. We even did a street taco tour where I researched a bunch of taco stands and things. And then we spread it out we were only there, I think, was it 3 nights, which was perfect. You think like that's not enough time, but for just 2 humans without kids, it was amazing. So we had amazing street tacos. We had lots of deep connection conversations and just being sensual and going out dancing. And it was just the best. And one of my favorite moments from this time was we were sitting at dinner with another couple who happened to just be celebrating their wedding anniversary at the same time that lives in the Bay Area as well. And there was a mariachi band playing while we were eating dinner. And I shared the quote from Esther Perel, where she talks about we have many marriages in a lifetime if you choose to be in partnership and marry. And sometimes it's with the same person. And without missing a beat, both George and I said, we're on our third marriage. Like we were like synced up. We didn't discuss this, but it was just so clear that we've had so many ego deaths of our marriage and had to like step into the new marriage, right? There's the marriage before Zoe. Then there's the marriage of like, we're navigating parenting and all the things. And now we're stepping into like this next season and chapter of empty nesting. And it's just, being able to have the hard conversations and the rebirths and walking through that fire together is really special. And like, we both know that they're in those moments when the marriage did end, we didn't know if we were going to renew or re-up, right? So it's just so beautiful to find ourselves in this place that we have continued to do our own inner work, that we could find each other and fall in love with the evolved, growing versions of ourselves and still choosing to love in this form. And so that's been very, very powerful for us. And, we have ego deaths and rebirths, not just in marriage, it's also in motherhood, the different seasons of motherhood and entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur for over 16 years, right? Friendships shift and change and new ones are born. And so every new season asks us to reimagine who we're becoming and also what we're letting go of. And this year is a 9-year, it's completion year. It's also the year of the snake. And so there's a lot of shedding and letting go and ending chapters. And so really thinking about that for you, what's being called to kind of end? Where is the completion for you? I can feel that there's going to be a shift and reorientation even in my business and probably a rebrand, but I'm like holding steady around that and we'll see what's brewing. So often we want to know the answers, like, will we, won't we stay together? Will we, won't we do this business idea? Like, will we, won't we our kid go to this school or that school, right? We want certainty so much, but I think the practice as we age and season ourselves is to sit in uncertainty, to be comfortable in the discomfort of not knowing, right? To surrender to life, and life has its own plans and invitations. And so just like to be present for it all. That's something I've been saying a lot this year is I'm just meeting the moment by moment. I'm just here. And so I think that's something to really, really be thinking about and also just having that space, right? So I feel like that's a good overview to get you reoriented with where I am and all the pieces that I'm holding in business, in relationships, in motherhood, and friendships, and creative projects, and all of that. And I just think as humans, we're holding a lot and we're navigating a lot. And we need that space to slow down, to step away, and to really like turn down the noise and reconnect to our own voice. So if you feel called, I'm actually my She Builds Business Retreat. I do it a few times a year, open to the public. This year, I did it in January at my studio in San Francisco Bay Area in Lafayette, California. I did another one with one of my clients, Lindsay Cotter of Cotter Crunch in Utah, specifically with bloggers, which was super, super fun. Some of those people have become clients, which is amazing and fun. I've worked with bloggers for many, many years, coming from my own background with Simple Green Smoothies. And so I'm doing my fall She Builds business retreat. So that's happening September 11th to 12th. If you're hearing that before then and you're feeling a call of like, I need to like 2 spacious days so I can ground and reset. If you are a woman entrepreneur and you're wanting at least a 6-month plan that feels aligned and profitable, and also having a strategy that you can bring back to your team. So you're not just carrying all the pieces and the vision and the ideas alone. And you want to be able to nourish your nervous system, because we all know hustle culture isn't working for us. And like burnout is definitely like not the badge of honor that we need. And actually next week, I'll be having a conversation with Chris Ducker and talking about his book called The Long Haul Leader, and talking about his recovery from burnout, adrenal fatigue, anxiety, depression. Like we're all in it, you know, no one is stepping away from this season of life like unscathed. We are getting, you know, our badges of like strength and resiliency. So if you're desiring a powerful circle of women to up level with, She Builds Business Retreat is a great 2-day reset for you. Or if you're looking for more longer term support, I have She Builds Collective, which it's a 12-month mastermind. Many of the women renew each year, and like we're a vibe. So it's a vibe. You got to like dancing or be willing to get into your body, but also talk business strategy and marketing and ads, but doing it in a soulful way that makes room and space for your life. She Builds Collective is definitely something you want to look into, especially if you're a seasoned entrepreneur, you're holding team and family and big ideas. Like that's the place to go. So you can find all those things at jadaselner.com. Yeah. So I just want to share that with you, because I know oftentimes I don't always share what I'm up to. Sometimes people are like, I didn't know you're a business coach, or I didn't know you had that book, or, you know, it's just so wild. So also if you're someone that's just like, oh, I just need a little taste, like She Builds the book is still, I put everything in there, everything that I do with my clients, whether they're making 100K or 5 million a year plus in their business, all the strategies, all the tools, the templates are inside the book. Many people will get the physical copy and then listen to the audio version, and it's recorded in my voice. So if you go to shebuilds.com, that will take you directly to the book, or just get it from your favorite bookstore online or in person. And yeah, I think that's everything that I want to say in this moment. Lots of milestones. And I hope some of the questions that I share give you just an opportunity to start to attune to your own needs and what's being called to be created next. And so this is my update of how I'm sustaining in this season of so much change and so much celebrations. And I would love to hear from you. I always say at my events, I'm an introvert who hugs. And so I'm awkward. I'm not always the person that will make the first move. But if you send me a DM on Instagram or a reply to a newsletter, I will definitely respond and let me know how you're sustaining yourself right now. What practices are nourishing you? What people, like who's nourishing you in this season of life? And is there anything that you need to release and let go of? So for now, I say thank you for being here and for listening and for just walking this path with leading with love alongside me. And until next time, my invitation for you is to keep building with love. Thank you so much for your heart and attention and listening to Lead with Love. You can always get the links and resources mentioned in each episode over at leadwithlovepodcast.com so that you can build a sustainable business and live a creative life on your terms. If this message, Leading with Love, resonates with you and you want to take a stand for remembering that there are humans with beating hearts behind the numbers, I would love for you to subscribe so you never miss an episode and leave an honest review. It would mean the world to me, and it also helps more people spread more love in the world, which we really, really need. I also love hearing from you. So as you're listening, take a screenshot, share your favorite takeaway, and tag me on Instagram and Facebook at Jada Selner. I really appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.